sources Elgton Jenkins skipping Packers workout over contract, and I don't blame him. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of from Rob Domofsky, and then I want you guys to react. Elgton Jenkins doesn't necessarily have a problem with moving to center full-time, but sources say the two-time Pro Bowl left guard would like the Green Bay Packers to make it more financially stable for him to do so. Now, Jason Wilde, when he was on with us on Monday, hinted that Elgton Jenkins is well aware of the 30-year-old cutoff for the Green Bay Packers. He said that's the reason Domofsky did. That's the reason he has stayed far away from the offseason workouts, multiple sources told ESPN. Jenkins has 2 years left on his 4-year, $68 million contract that he signed in December of 2022. It was designed to pay him as if he was a starting guard while remaining competitive if he moved to the higher price tackle position. The average of $17 million per year would make him the highest paid center in the league. The problem is, however, that centers typically make far less than high-paid guards, so Jenkins is concerned about future earnings.
I mean, I get that. If he's good enough to be a premier paid guard and maybe a tackle, but necessity has you move into a lower paid role, would you want to take that pay cut? Like, I don't blame him for asking for it. I don't know how it's going to go. I know how the Packers are, so I don't know
he's
if
looking
that's going to
for
go well.
Guard money. I think he's looking for guaranteed money.
Yeah.
He'll take guaranteed center money.
That's fair, because I do think you were saying 17 a year. That is 17 a year is the top center salary, and I believe it's the Kansas City Chiefs center who is getting 17 a year.
Creed Humphrey.
That's the highest paid center in the league.
So does this come down to, are you pro player or pro team? I feel like that's the conversation around guaranteed money.
Honestly, the way the Packers are kind of with the whole like at age 30 thing, just the kind of vibe I've been getting lately from like Goody and stuff, he is clearly pro team.
He's the GM.
Well, I get that, but like there's other teams and GMs that show a little loyalty to players that have shown them success in the past and helped them out. Like the fact that he didn't go and renegotiate Devontae Adams' deal a year earlier and avoid the whole issue shows me that this guy is purely players are assets as opposed to like people. I think I'm a little pro player as a fan. Because I feel like as a fan, my players on the field.
Right. I feel like as a fan, I'm pro player, but I guess when it comes to Brian Gutekunst, like I think about him that the only person that he probably is pro player for is Jordan Love, because he essentially blew up an organization, or almost blew up an organization, got rid of a franchise quarterback, Hall of Fame quarterback, by moving up to get Jordan Love. So it's like he needs to maybe kind of be pro player when it comes to the guys that are protecting Jordan Love.
So the highest paid guard paid per year is $21 million per year. Landon Dickinson signed a 4-year, $84 million contract extension. Creed Humphrey, highest paid center, is $18 million with $72 million, 4-year, $72 million deal. So it's enough that matters as far as like over the course of a contract and per year and guaranteed money. And Elgton probably does not get top tier center money because he's a little bit older. He'll get,
but is he not one of the most consistent guys on the Packers?
But he's not a center currently. So like, I think this will get worked out if Goody does the right thing. Like for me, Goody needs to do the right thing and just pay Elgton Jenkins somewhere in between, or just pay him something of near top center value for the position and extend him, give him a few more years so he feels comfortable he'll be around.
And if they can rework Jair, you can open cap space this year to accommodate Jenkins and whatever else you need to do. Like there's other dominoes that need to fall. I think if he figures out the Jair thing, the Elgton Jenkins things will follow. Just because it would open up cap space, you push Jair off in the future, you give Elgton his guaranteed or signing bonus or whatever, however that works out.
Or you could trade, and obviously there's salary cap parts to be worked in there, maybe draft picks to be worked in there. But would you trade Elgton Jenkins for Trey Hendrickson straight up? Trey Hendrickson of the Cincinnati Bengals, back-to-back years with at least 17 sacks, FAU alum, go Owls. But a premier pass rusher, hoot hoot. And someone who's very disgruntled with the Bengals. His situation is far worse with the Bengals than Elgton Jenkins is with the Packers, which could lead the Bengals for trading him for less than market value.
And it would track for the Bengals, add to the offense, take away from the defense. That's kind of been their move offseason.
If you have Joe Burrow, you want to help protect him. Elgton Jenkins, wherever he plays, guard or center, I think would be an upgrade. And I think they want to play. They want to play Trey Hendrickson. They want to keep him around. They just don't want to pay him what he is worth. And I understand where he's coming from.
They should be a little nervous right now because that Shamar Stewart said he wasn't going to take participation or wasn't going to participate in any offseason work until his contract.
Which is
done.
Wild because these players sign waivers and they get quasi-guaranteed money if they happen to get hurt.
Captain Underpants already making waves.
But
thank God the Packers didn't get him. My God.
I'm so glad that was your nightmare pick because it's turning out to be a nightmare in Cincinnati.
But with that, Trey Hendrickson.
Take it. Yeah. You know what? I thought about it for a moment. I would take that trade.
So I was listening, obviously, as a Bears fan. I listened to a lot of Bears podcasts, and they kind of used him as he's a multiplier. They didn't use the word win, like a war, like wins above replacement. But I think he would take the Bears from an 8.5 win Vegas to a 10.5 win Vegas over-under.
Okay.
And I think he would do the same for the Packers. I don't know what their over-under is, but I think he would add 2 wins to the team. I think he's worth 2 wins.
Yeah. I mean, I think if we were to add Hendrickson, I would not be surprised if Gary got to double-digit sacks for the first time in his career. I know that sounds crazy, Molly.
Pressure.
But when you've got Hendrickson on one side, you need to focus on him. It could give Gary a little opportunity. Gary might thrive as the second best pass rusher on the team. And if you get Hendrickson, there's no doubt who the best is. I think Hendrickson helps everybody on that defense. Your safeties and corners get better because they're getting more pressure on them. Gary gets better because he's not viewed as the number one guy, and they might not get doubled or chipped on pass plays. Like I think a rising tide would raise all boats, and without a doubt, Hendrickson is a rising tide on this Packers defense. If Goody could somehow make that happen, I would be thrilled.
So I've just Googled landing spots for Trey Hendrickson. And the other reason why the Packers would want Trey Hendrickson is that they're listed as a possible landing spot, along with the Detroit Lions and the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, so get him just so they don't go there.
You do not want him chasing down Jordan Love with either one of those
2 times a year? No, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll pass, thank you. I'll take Christmas and Thanksgiving games instead of Trey Hendrickson to somewhere in the north.
Yeah, because that would be the Packers were 9.5 for over/under in Vegas, so that would bump them to 11.5. Bumps them to probably pretty close to the favorites there. Ooh. And I think of Jordan Love is
we think about this. It's never going to happen. Goody's never going to do it. Hendrickson's already 30+.
I know.
He's like 31 or 30 and a half right now.
He's about ready to turn 30, so you get rid of one old for a different old.
How old is Hobbs, the corner that they just picked up?
I think he's 27, 28.
I think he's 26 or 27. Okay. He's fairly young. He's coming off his rookie contract.
I think it's 26, and I think it was like an even number. I just couldn't trying to picture it in my head. But, so he's the sweet spot for them to sign a free agent.
He'd be the second oldest guy on the team, Hendrickson.
They need some age.
Right behind McManus.
Nate Hobbs will turn 26 on June 24th.
Okay, so, not quite 26.
How old is Kenny Clark? 29?
What is going on right now? Anyone else?
She doesn't believe my stat that 31 is the second oldest guy on the team.
The show with Tarek Saleh. Tell me about this guy. Tell me his stats. Tell me this guy's stats.
It's hard to believe that McManus and Hendrickson would be like the 2 oldest to me. I feel like Kenny Clark's been around the block a couple times.
Kenny Clark is 29. He will turn 30 on October 4th. So
in the middle of the season last year, there was only one player over 30 on the Green Bay Packers, and it was our kicker.
It's insane.
It is.